So the nurse told me if it continued happening, they were going to have an OB come in, the one that was on call, and see if he could pull clots out. And sure enough, that's what happened.
Yeah.
So he came in and pulled 3 big clots out. It was very uncomfortable. I mean, he was elbow deep.
He was elbow deep. It was crazy. He
had to have been. It was crazy. And he said he was going to come back and check me. I think it was like 30 minutes later or so. 30 minutes. It wasn't that long. Maybe. Yeah, because the nurses are supposed to check you every 15 minutes. So it wasn't that long. And when he came back, I was still doing the same amount of bleeding. Lots of people started coming in, nurses and, techs and people that were helping, and it was very overwhelming.
Yeah, it was very scary as the husband and father sitting over on the couch with our newborn daughter watching, 6-7 nurses and other doctors file in after the OB, and they're all surrounding her, and she's got her arms out for IVs, and it was really scary.
They were drawing blood in one arm, starting an IV in this arm, and he was pulling clots out, and it was very, no one told you what was happening. No one said, hey, you're bleeding out, or you're hemorrhaging, or whatever. And I know that my parents heard it from the hallway that there was a hemorrhage in my room number. And my mom tried to come up to the door just to stand there, and they told her to go back to the waiting room. But they were able to stick another balloon up there. And the balloon inflated was supposed to stop the bleeding. If not, the worst case scenario was going to surgery to have a DNC, where they would just kind of scrape that lining to make the bleeding stop. Luckily, I didn't have to do that. The balloon worked. Unfortunately, it was in for 12 hours.
Yeah.
But when it finally came out, it was awesome, and there was no more bleeding.
Yeah.
No more significant bleeding, anyway. No more clots. So that was awesome. But it was very scary.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. I remember just looking over at him and thinking, I cannot die here. I can't. I just had a baby. I can't die. Yeah. And it's so scary to think that way. And, I couldn't look at you because I felt like I would just cry if I looked at him. So it was very scary. It's not a good situation to be in. I know I'm not the only person that's ever been in it, but,
Yeah, but to be in that situation.
To share the story, too.
It was really frightening.
Yeah, it is scary. But we were okay, and we got sent up to another room, which normally you go to postpartum, but because I had such a weird situation with the hemorrhaging, and then I had a balloon in for a while, that I had to go to another floor that was more of an at-risk floor, and we were there just for overnight.
Yeah, they bathed her in that room, and
so she had to wait.
Good stuff.
Yeah, you have to wait 8 hours to bathe them after birth.
That way, all the baby cheese can absorb into their skin.
But we had an amazing baby nurse. She came in and bathed her and showed us everything that we needed to do for that. And she helped me with breastfeeding. It was very difficult because our baby won't latch.
No,
So we had a hard time. Yeah, we had a very hard time getting her to latch or getting her to get nutrition. And by the next day, we did feed her some formula, which is totally okay.
Yeah.
You can't do everything, and it's okay to breastfeed, it's okay to bottle feed, it's okay to formula feed, whatever gets the baby nutrition is all that matters. As long as she's eating,
that's all that matters.
Yeah. So we did send her to the nursery for a couple hours because we were exhausted.
Yeah, we were exhausted. Yeah. We couldn't get her to stop crying. We had changed her. We had fed her. She just wouldn't stop crying.
She really wanted to be held that whole night.
She just didn't want to be in the bassinet, so we were like, can you take her to the nursery just so we can get at least 2 hours of sleep? We got it. They brought her back. We fed her, and then she was fine.
Yeah, and they have a interesting system they use to make sure that you get the right baby back.
Yeah,
everybody, the mom and the dad and the baby all get these wristbands that say a code on them.
Yeah.
And then you have to repeat the code to each other, to the nurse that's bringing the baby back to you, and you.
That way, they make sure they're giving you the correct baby.
Yeah, and that's so crazy that. The time has come that we have to have codes back and forth.
I didn't have to mark my daughter's foot.
Yeah, no kidding. That's good. But so it's okay to send your baby to the nursery. I think if you I mean, you're so tired and exhausted from everything. You kind of need that time.
Yeah.
And then the second day, we went to the postpartum floor. We did not have her go to the nursery that night. She slept really well.
Yeah, she was really good that last day.
So we didn't feel like it was necessary. But I know a lot of parents do send them to the nursery overnight
and there's nothing
while they're
wrong
in the
with
hospital.
that.
Yeah, there's nothing. Get your sleep.
Sleep
well.
Sleep as much as you can.
Yeah, because you do not have sleep afterwards.
No, you do not.
It's exhausting.
My wife has been kind enough to let me sleep through the night so that I'm rested enough for work. But
on the days that he's off, he gets up those nights.
I'm up with her.
Because it's easy. It's easier for him to feed her while I pump than it is for me to feed her, burp her, rock her back to sleep, put her in the bassinet, then pump. I'm up for like 2 hours making it work, and then if she wakes up within those 2 hours, after I get her down, you're up for another
2 hours.
Hour trying to get her back to sleep. So, the single parents out there, I commend you.
Kudos to you.
You guys are amazing. I don't know what I would do without a second set of hands on the days that I have him. It is just so exhausting. So
that it is.
Yeah, I definitely commend you guys for that because you need help. You just, especially as a new parent, you have no idea what's going on. You're totally lost.
Yeah.
So
and we've learned along the way, but that's for another video.
Yeah. They also wake you up for the moms. If you're breastfeeding, you're up every 2 hours trying to breastfeed and feed her at the hospital. Mm-hmm. So I was up every 2 hours. For a while that night, I think it got till probably midnight, and we just decided we were gonna pump.
Yeah, I remember. Because
that was just the easier way to do it for her needs. So the nurse and I, got the pump out, and I wasn't getting. I mean, my milk hadn't come in yet, so I wasn't getting full bottles or anything, but just small. Not even like a milliliter.
Yeah, we would like we've said before, we would pull up with a syringe, pop it right in her mouth.
Yeah, they don't need much when they're newborns like that. They said just like the size of like a pea or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Very, very small. But as long as she was getting that, then they were happy. Good. And she was fussy, and they did suggest giving her a little bit of formula at the hospital, and that's what we did.
Yep.
And she was fine. So yeah, she had a little bit of formula, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And she did great.
She did.
She did really well. We got to sleep through the night, which was awesome, for the most part anyway.
Yeah.
And because I was up every 2 hours trying to pump and feed her. And they took her. They have the jaundice test, and
they did have to take her for that.
Checking her glucose and things like that, and they'll take the baby for a little bit, which is nice because you're able to shut your eyes for a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of get some rest. And when they come back, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to hold them. And I'm like, no, I need to let her sleep because if I wake her up, then she'll be awake. So,
and then I won't get any sleep.
Yeah. But she did.
I being the both of us, not just me.
Right. She did great. And the next morning, we were able to go home.
Yep. And
so
we had to wait for a little bit because their system had crashed, and I took that time to take a trip to the car and get some stuff packed up. But like I said earlier in the video, by the time I got done with that first trip, transportation was already there.
Yeah.
And
we had to wait for the pediatrician to come see her and clear her to go. My doctor was there pretty quickly at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And cleared me to go home, and then we had to wait for the pediatrician to come up, and then their system crashed. But we had the room packed, and we were dressed, and we were just ready to get home with her.
And the transportation chair was really big on the back.
Yeah.
So that you could put all your stuff on it, so that way you didn't have to carry it. So we got that all down. She waited in the chair with the nurse while I got everything up, put it in the car, pulled the car around, and then
and then we were headed home.
Yeah.
Which was really scary because driving home with a newborn is terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying. You got to make sure
you're worried about everyone.
Yeah, not just yourself. You got to make sure that all the other people aren't driving like jerks.
Yeah, or just paying attention. You're so aware of everything at that point.
Yeah.
Instead of just how you're driving, you're worried about everything on the road.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Whether it's potholes, other drivers,
Yeah, because you don't want to run. You don't want to like run over one of them bumpy strips or anything. Yeah, you want to like stay calm.
I think we had driven through a little bit of construction with really narrow lanes, so that was really nerve-wracking. But we got through it pretty good. So
it's better now.
Yeah,
you get used to it.
Yeah, we got her home, and she's good. And
we're glad to be home from it all. Yeah, it was a very exhausting trip, and just everything that happened was a lot.
It was a good learning experience, and we can take that with us with our next kid.
And that's why, so that's why we wanted to just get our story out there, put it out there on a platform that people can see and can enjoy. And if we, are a close story to your own, or, just if you're looking for information about anything that can happen, we're the story to tell. Yeah. So, if you want more videos, just like and subscribe, and we'll keep putting them out.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.